significance in the order of hours, or maybe even days. Smaller companies and certainly startups might take weeks or months to get statistical significance.
How deep is the variation? Like you tweak the homepage, can you like tweak the entire site for a specific group of users and then test it on them, or do you have to like create individual variations and just have like one path for all of them?
Yeah. So the question is, can you use Optimizely, I guess, to help do an experiment across an entire site as opposed to when maybe specific tweaks? I'll show you some examples of that. So you can do that with Optimizely. This is something that it was really important to us early on in building the product, is to enable people to run experiments across dynamic websites. So for example, in this case, if I actually wanted to run an experiment that's maybe not on the hero graphic, but maybe on the top nav, so these things here on the top, if I wanted to maybe, let's say, create a website, make that more prominent, I can actually just drag it over or maybe get rid of it. And when you do that, you now have a variation that's common for your entire site. The way you actually run that is we have this targeting feature that allows you to just run it across either exact match, substring match on the URLs, so it can be just a total site nav experiment. Or we have a bunch of custom targeting conditions where you can really define the population of people who see this experiment. It can be based off of geolocation. Maybe you only want people from Iraq to see a particular variation or a particular experiment. And we give you a lot of flexibility to be really fine-grained to enable you to do that, from average best to segmentation, eventually to personalization. Yes?
What's the biggest challenge you ran into building Optimizely?
The question is, what's the biggest challenge we ran into when building Optimizely? We have several, so many challenges come to mind. I think one of the bigger systemic long-term challenges will be hiring. I think right now, especially in the market we're in, our biggest competitor is actually people starting their own company, people going to Y Combinator or there's other accelerators. It's never been easier to start a company. And so the folks that we look to hire are very entrepreneurial in and of themselves. And we have to make a compelling case for why Optimizely is the best place to go to learn the skills that will help you be successful as an entrepreneur on your own. And that's one of the realizations I had, having gone to Google, hoping to get that from Google, and realizing at Google you learn a very narrow part, at least in my role, just on product, on engineering. But you learn nothing about sales, marketing, support, PR, legal, all of the things that go into building a company. I wish what I had done is actually gone to an early stage startup, learn the things they did well, copy that, learn the things they did poorly, fix that, and then start my own company, hopefully from those experiences.
How would you describe your company culture?
How would I describe my company culture? I'm glad you asked that. So I can describe my company culture in 6 words. I swear I did not plan that question.
You amplified.
And so Optimizely in 6 words. So culture is really important to us. And part of the reason it's important, and probably the main reason, at least for me personally, is I want Optimizely to be the kind of place I would want to go work for if I were looking for a job. And as an entrepreneurial person, as somebody who's tech savvy, there's a lot of options I might have, and I really want Optimizely to be the kind of place I would love to go into work to every day. And so we went through an exercise pretty recently where we, as a company, tried to figure out what are the things we love so much about Optimizely, about our colleagues, about the company, all of the things that really made a big difference to us from a culture perspective. And these are the 6 words that we came up with. The first is ownership. At Optimizely, we really empower people to own what they work on, both the successes and the failures. And this is something that I realized as a founder of the company, is that I can't do everything. Reality is I shouldn't be doing anything. I should find people who are much better at what they do, like Kara is in marketing, and help them be successful in what they do, enable them, give them ownership, and then get out of the way and help them any way I can. And we hope that trickles to everyone else in the company as well. We want people to own their successes and mistakes, because if you're an entrepreneurial person, you don't want to be in an environment where you don't have ownership. The second is passion. And by passion, what we really mean is passion about the experience we deliver our customers. When it comes to the sales experience Ian delivers to people when he gives them a demo, to the support and technical account management experience we give them after they've signed as customers, and then to the product experience, from the usability of the product, making it so that it's delightful to use, will translate into everything that goes on in the company. So if a customer has a delightful experience, not only will they be customers for life, but they'll tell 5 of their friends about Optimizely. And that's the way we've grown so well in terms of inbound. Trust is another big one. We really trust each other to get things done. It's not a culture of sort of like, you know, checking up on people, making sure they're doing the right thing. If somebody's empowered and owns a project, everyone trusts them to do the best of their ability to do that. Integrity is important. This is something we've always looked for, especially as we continue to grow. And it's tempting, especially in this hiring market, to hire people who are mercenaries, who might come in and they're really good for the next 2 or 3 months. Maybe they're a really great sales guy who has great connections, but long term they're not a great fit for the company, or they're willing to actually put themselves ahead of the company, so we look for integrity. Fearlessness, as we get bigger and bigger and as our revenue numbers go up and up, it's harder and harder to take bigger risks because we're scared we'll lose the success we've had, so we force people to be fearless. And we ask ourselves, you know, this word, you know, we put this together, we never thought this would influence like conversations, but now I'm in meetings all the time where people are like, yeah, should we do X or Y? Well, actually, fearlessness is part of our culture. Let's do Y, because that's the thing that would be scarier to do. And the last one is transparency with a Y. And we're open and honest both to internally within the company, but also very importantly with our customers. And this is something I learned from my co-founder early on. When we, you know, early back in the beginning of the product, we'd break people's websites, that people wouldn't be able to donate, whatever it was. Like, we did things that were really bad. And unlike many companies where their natural response would be to be protective and say things like, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, we went much further and we actually just admitted, hey, we screwed up, this is what went wrong, this is why it went wrong, here's why that's never going to happen, and here's why things like that will never happen again. And we're very open and honest with our customers. And the surprising thing is that now the relationship we have with them was much better than had nothing ever gone wrong in the first place. And now they trust us to be the kind of company that will be open and honest with them and really have transparency around things that go wrong. So to answer your question, how do I describe Optimize's culture? Optify. Any other questions?
What kind of feedback do you get from your customers?
The question is, what kind of feedback do you get from your customers? So this is actually something that was really important early in our company's growth because early on, the hardest thing to do was to say no, because we had this long list of things we knew we needed to get done to be successful. And if we go to, for example, a sales meeting with a potential customer, most of the conversation, like 2 years ago, when we're just in the infancy of our company, would be, oh, can you do targeting? Can you do traffic allocation? Can you do multivariate testing? Can you do CSS? All these things that were really important. And so in the beginning back then, we would say, oh, it's on the roadmap, it's on the roadmap. The feedback we got was pretty good because over time, we would just go ahead and build those features. And so now people ask, do you have targeting? Oh yeah, we have targeting, it's right here. Do you have traffic allocation? Yeah, it's right here. And so that was a really valuable process for us to make sure that we're building something people want. So early on, that was critically valuable. Today, as we've grown and scaled, now we get all kinds of feedback. We'll get post-sales feedback around things that will help companies be successful organizationally that doesn't have to do with the product, but you know, how do you make sure that my boss is bought in, or how do you get shown ROI to the business, especially in these bigger enterprise deals. Overall, people love the product, and that's the only way we've been successful is because the product is the kind of product people have a delightful experience and they tell somebody else about it. All right, so we're going to stick around. I'll be here for questions. Anybody else from Optimize who introduced themselves earlier will be around as well. I think, let's see, how we're doing on time. We'll mingle for a little bit and then chat with folks, and then maybe about 10 minutes we're going to announce the winner of the iPad mini drawing. So I think there may be some more food and drink. Help yourself, and thank you again for coming.